Once Space Invaders for the Atari 2600 became a runaway hit, bringing popular arcade games to the system was an increasingly common trend, and everybody was doing it. In 1983, publisher CBS Electronics brought the Bally Midway game Solar Fox to the VCS. And I'll be giving that one a spin next on this edition of Friday Plays.
This video brought to you in part by Tommy in the Order of Cosmic Champions. This exciting and heartwarming coming-of-age Gen X novel is available now. Check the link for more info.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video. Solar Fox hit the arcades in 1981 and featured an ever-moving spaceship traversing a grid to gather energy dots while avoiding enemy fire from all four sides. In addition to crossing over the energy spots, you could also shoot them with your blaster or use your blaster to shoot the enemies to pause them temporarily. When Tom DiDomenico worked on the port of Solar Fox for the VCS, he no doubt ran up against the console's limitations and had to water it down substantially. He had to sacrifice the on-screen grid, half the enemies, and even the ability to shoot. Now what remains certainly resembles the Bally Midway arcade game, but ends up being quite a different play experience than the original. Not necessarily bad, but different. Let's check it out. So here's Solar Fox. You can see CBS presents Solar Fox, Bally Midway. Actually spelled out Bally in like a script text. Let's wait till that comes back around. You'll see, yeah, that was impressive. I always thought like this was later in development of Atari stuff, and there were more like title screens and track modes and stuff as you see in this game. Now I'm doing this in emulation, so I'm going to periodically pause because this is a fast-paced game. It's just you can't stop except for running into the sides, and even that is ill-advised. So you've got to keep moving in this game a lot, and so I can't do that and explain things at the same time, probably. So let's start by talking about the game select. So there are 4 different game select options. So you can see game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4. It says down there at the bottom. So it's really just 2 variations, 1 player, 2 player. So the standard game, 1 player is game 1. Standard game, 2 player is game 2. And then they have what's called parent play. So it's a dramatically slowed down version of the game with fewer bullets and fewer opportunities to do things. It only plays like the first 5 or 6 levels. There's no bonus timers for skipping racks and all that kind of stuff. So the standard game is game 1. That's what we're looking at for the majority of this game. You can explore it and try the. I tried the parent play, and it's super easy, but it gets really boring too because it's just like it's good to like learn the mechanics of the game, but it's also a slowed down version, so that practice doesn't necessarily carry over so well into the main game. Your goal in Solar Fox is that the planet, Earth I assume, is on the brink of global war because of the struggle for resources. You know, sounds like Earth. But there's an opportunity at a far-off edge of the galaxy. There are these solar cells sitting on a grid. We actually don't get to see the grid because Atari can't display it. But these solar cells are out there for you to collect. They're guarded by these Sentinels, but if you can collect them and bring them back to your planet, of course, you can be the savior of the planet, and we won't go to war. And, you know, it's like video games. It's the end of the world, and you're the last hope, you know. All right, so let me make sure we're on game 1 here, and let's give you a quick tour of the screen. So it starts the game. You get that little music we heard. So I'm going to pause it here. All right, what do we see in here? First of all, top of the screen is your score. On a 2-player game, the other player's score is at the bottom. These Sentinels are working their way back and forth. So these little guys at the top and bottom, you see they're moving back and forth. Those are Sentinels. They're shooting fireballs at you, trying to stop you from gathering up all these energy dots, whatever they're called. I've seen in some versions of Solar Fox, they're called fusors, but they don't mention that in the manual here, so I'm not going to call them that here. They're just energy dots. Yeah, you have those guys on the lower left. You see there's that skipper rack that's now expiring. In fact, let's restart it so you can see it. There we go. So lower left, it says skipper rack. This is a dangerous little timer that has super high risk and high reward. So each level of the game, each grid is called a rack, and you have to clear that rack to advance. And you get the points for each of the dots that you pick up, each of the energy dots. If you can complete a rack before that skipper rack timer expires, not only do you get to skip the next level, but you're given all the points you would have gotten on that level. So all the points for all the dots that exist, you get them, but don't have to play through the game. The downside is you got to really book it around this screen to try to do that and not miss any turns and likely run into fireballs. So I find that I don't try to do the skipper rack very often because I end up losing more lives than points I would have potentially gained versus just being able to play further in the game. Let's see, your ship, obviously, sitting in the center of the screen. You have 3 ships, and you can see the 1 on screen and the 2 in reserve, the 2 dots down the lower right. I didn't see any reference to extra ships at any point in the manual, so if that happens, I'll be as surprised as you. I haven't noticed it in the course of my play, but we could look out and possibly do that. Now, I mentioned that you can't shoot in this version of the game, so let's resume and kind of play a little bit. I cannot shoot. So as my ship moves, what I can do is hold down the button to speed up my movement. Whoa! So as I'm moving around, I can hold it down and move really fast, like that. Now, the difficulty switch lets you reverse that. So it isn't really a difficulty change, it's a preference change. So I push the button to speed up, as you might imagine. If you put the difficulty switch in the A position, fast is the default speed, and the slower version is what you get if you don't hold down the button. So really, it's just a preference. So I keep it in the B mode, which means it's slow by default, and I hold down the button, and it goes faster. Now, in addition to these standard racks that you play, gathering, picking up these energy dots, after every 5 levels, you get a challenge stage. And the challenge stage is, it's like a challenging stage in Galaga or something. You have a super short time to pick up all the dots. Nobody's shooting at you, but you have to go around and pick up all the dots as quickly as you can. If you complete, let me pause here, if you can complete a challenging stage, the game is going to expose to you a secret letter. Now, I read about this a little bit, and it'll pop up here what it says in the manual about the secret letter. You have to complete all 6 different challenge stages perfectly inside of the timer, and it gives you a different letter. And that letter is going to give you, it says something about a secret to something coming from CBS Electronics. And I read a little bit. Apparently, CBS was going to run this some kind of a contest or something. Several games had this secret word in them, different words that added up to like an Activision patch thing or a prize or whatever. And I've only ever gotten one, which is a letter H. And I've learned that inside of Solar, I'm not going to spoil it. I know what the word is. I'm not going to tell you. But I have found it once before. It's really interesting that they were building this like multi-game contest by finding secret letters and secret words inside of games. But if we see one, we'll be lucky to see one. We're not going to see many because this game is really hard. And I call it Speed in Space because you can never stop except for the side of the screen. There you can stop, but you can get trapped over there. So it's ill-advised, while you can stop on that side of the screen, you shouldn't. So really, you've got to keep moving. If you hit a fireball like that, you've got to keep moving. If you choose to not move, you're going to get pinned across the side here, and they can lay a row of fireballs that can box you in, and you have no choice. The only way to prevent that, like you can imagine if I was on the left there, I would have gotten it, is to keep moving. So it's move fast or move slow or die. Those are pretty much the options that you have. Now, as far as scoring, as you go up each 5 racks, the scoring increases, as you might imagine. I'll put up the little box from the instructions here and show you. It goes up by 100, 200, 300, or whatever. And of course, if you can finish levels within the skipper rack time, you get the points for the next level you skipped, as I mentioned. I find it hard to play it while I'm talking. I find it hard to play it when I'm not talking. So, of course, if I can run through all and that's the structure of the game. So that's how the game works. I think we've covered everything. It's a simple arcade game. Now, in the original 1981, you could shoot the Sentinels and pause them, stun them. You could shoot the energy things and collect them. But this is purely like a Pac-Man, gathering thing. You have to run around and pick them up. And once you get to level 1 through 5, you cross over them once to pick them up. Once you get to level 7 through 20, you've got to do this Cubert thing where you cross them once and they change color, and you cross them again, and then you pick them up. Now, I don't know how far I'm going to make it. I typically get about 20,000. As I was practicing just before this recording, of course, I wasn't recording then, I actually crossed 50,000 and did really well. That's when I got the H on the challenging stage. I don't know how well I'll do, but I'm going to try a points run so you have something to aim for when you try this game. I'm sure you could beat me without too much trouble. Before I do, I'll remind you of our store over at GenXGrownUp.com/merch, where we have cool, nerdy designs like Space Invaders and arcade games, and also like movies and TV and pop culture and all that stuff. You get these designs printed on hats and shirts and mugs and pins and stickers and everything. Get yourself something cool and help support what we do here on Gen X Grown Up. Keep us in mind the next time you're in the market. Very much appreciated. Okay, so difficulty B, which means default is slow. I'll hit the button to speed up when I need to. Okay, wish me luck. Here we go. Now, I guess there's a lot of little minor strategies in here. You know, speed up when you're on a straightaway to gather stuff. You can also kind of do this little juke thing where you zigzag and stay put for a moment, but you don't want to do that for too long. There we go, cleared that first level. You don't want to do that for too long because fireballs are inbound, you know. I tend to take my time in this game because if I don't, it's just, it's over like right away because I just really haven't mastered, you know, the cornering. Whoa, that was dangerous. Whoa, don't stay up. You also don't want to linger too close to the top and the bottom, as you can imagine, because the fireballs can come out before you would see them and you're dead, you know? Whoa, I thought I was going to clear that. Ah, dead. All right, so let's get this last one. If he doesn't shoot at me, I'll pick it up. Got it. Okay. So is that on to rack 3 now? Yeah, only rack 3 and I'm down a man. That's not good news. I told you that I typically only get about 10 or 20,000. Whoa. You know, you get on a little run sometimes to pick up a few of those energy dots, which is great. But try not to get too greedy. It's so easy to just go, I'm on a roll, and get really greedy, and then next thing you know, you run into a fireball that came out of nowhere. There we go. Ooh, I almost got it again. Did you see that? Oh, just about 10,000. Here's rack 4. All right. Whoa. Okay. Don't get greedy. Ooh. Slow down. When in doubt, slow down a little. Whew. Got it. Man, 12,000? Not terrible. All right. Whoa. Made that turn as soon as I made the turn. And once you commit to the turn, like you're going to make the turn, that little animation around the corner, that can get you, you know. There you go, get these. That was a good opportunity to pick up all those. Great. All right, so, oh, goodness. Whoo, goodness. There we go, got it. Whoo, all right, man. 16,000? Oh, here's the challenge stage. So really quick. Now, I've already kind of screwed up. You got to get all these and not mess up and get them all. Come on. Oh, I didn't make it. You see, there's like no forgiveness. Also, the level starts instantaneously, and you're not moving. You got to start the move. You have to initiate it. Whoa, get over here. There we go. Oh. Whoa, come on. Get over there. Now, I'm on my last man, which is unfortunate already. Like 20,000, though. That's okay. Oh, 23,000. That was it. Look, I didn't even make it to the level 7 where you get the opportunity to see how you have to cross over them double time. I don't think 23,000 is too bad for this game, honestly, but when you get in the zone and you run through this, you know, several games in a row, I get that thing where it's, I get frustrated because in my head, and I'll step away from it and come back, and that's how I actually made that 50-some thousand run. But I think it might have read it first came out in the UK. I don't know. I'm not sure. The more I read, I saw conflicting things. There's a PAL version I know for sure, but either way, those region locks don't matter to us anymore. Solar Fox is worth checking out, especially if you enjoy the classic arcade game. Or maybe, despite you enjoying the original arcade game, because this one has so many differences, it's kind of its own beast.
Now, as you could see, the VCS version of Solar Fox, while pretty far from the arcade original, has plenty to offer. I can imagine fans of the arcade game were a bit disappointed in all the compromises, but seeing past that, it's a pretty strong arcade shooter for the 2600. Now, interestingly, there was also a port of Solar Fox for the Commodore 64, which is much closer to the arcade, but that's a story for another Friday Plays. Viewer Glenn Just suggested I cover Solar Fox today, so thanks to Glenn for his recommendation. If you have a favorite retro title you'd like to see me feature here on Friday Plays, let me know down in the comments. Meanwhile, links to previous episodes here and here. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.